a decade ago when you were all set to take off for your annual getaway. In all probability, you would have been humming John Denver's "Leaving on a Jet Plane" as you packed your bags, and in all likelihood, your airline of choice would have been Jet Airways. Cut to 2013, and the times have dramatically changed. Countless low-cost airlines, escalating fuel costs, a struggling aviation sector, and a mighty fall for the king of good times, Kingfisher Airlines. The outcome? Jet Airways, the only private full-service carrier alive and kicking. Kicking it might be, but with its elitist peer in a coma, Jet seems to be kicking in all the wrong directions.
In-flight service is deteriorated.
This could be a shot in the arm for Jet.
Perception, I think, has suffered a little because of the multiple brands.
So they've lost some of the shine that they once had.
This may have been the opportune time for Jet to consolidate. But alas, complacency always gets the better of us lesser mortals. Hence, the once high-flying carrier nosedived in market share and, more importantly, in perception. Just to put things into perspective, Jet Airways came out with its quarterly earnings last week, where the airline posted a profit of 93 crore rupees in the third quarter, vis-a-vis a loss of 123 crore rupees in Q3 last year. Revenues were up 5.5%, operating profits were up by a whopping 244%, yet the airline saw a 13% decline in passenger numbers on its domestic route. Not only that, according to the DGCA, Jet has very few cancellations of flight, second only to Indigo. Its on-time performance is really high, again, second only to Indigo. Yet, when it comes to consumer complaints, Jet occupies the number one spot. And like they say, actions have consequences. And the airline has steadily been losing market share year on year to players like Indigo, SpiceJet and Go. What's the reason for this decline? Is it complacency, or is there more to this story?
Jet has become complacent. It's not the airline that it was. They have not taken advantage of the fact that when Kingfisher folded up, they could have captured the entire business class market. But they have not done it because there is a question mark on the loyalty of the employees. But now we find that there is a lot of discontentment, and the management is also not really pushing hard because of the fact that they are not making money any longer.
They wanted to really consolidate their balance sheet as opposed to just grab market share. Although I think they could have done more to retain their corporate market, because that's something that traditionally legacy airlines have done so. A good parallel is the Australian market, where ANZ about 10 years ago, when they perished, Qantas grabbed the whole corporate market and developed a huge frequent flyer database which they milked till date. And I think long-term wise, Jet Airways should be doing that rather than just working on yields.
Jet Airways refused an on-camera interview but did send us a written response, and I quote, "Passenger numbers and market share are a direct outcome of an airline's deployed capacity. In keeping with the airline's clear focus on profitability and revenue share, one of the fiscal control measures adopted by the Jet Airway management was an ongoing network rationalization program, leading to the airline's withdrawal from loss-making routes." One of the key issues that Jet faces today is the lack of a clear brand strategy. Jet Airways is the only airline in India that dabbles in all sorts of offerings, from low-cost carriers to long-haul international flights to full-service domestic flights, without any distinct positioning for each of these. For instance, several passengers who book themselves on Jet Connect flights expect a full-service experience, only to find themselves on a low-cost carrier. That Jet Connect is a low-cost offering, not many know, and therein lies the problem. So between Jet, Jet Light and Jet Connect, what Jet really stood for was confusion more than anything else.
It needs more redefining of the business model. I mean, we're not quite sure where Jet is heading, which direction it's going to. Is it still very much a premium carrier, which many people have told me it's not? I think they need to take a few steps back and ask themselves where they want to go from here. So a redefining of their strategy, a relook at their model, a tweaking of their products on board. I mean, those are the things that clearly they have to look at.
Jet Airways further diluted its equity by adopting advertising tactics in order to increase revenues, a move that isn't very graceful for a full-service carrier. A prime example of this would be Jet's tie-up with Nokia Lumia last year, where the entire aircraft was bombarded with Lumia colours and branding. These promotional activities cheapen the brand's image, as these are money-making tactics employed by low-cost carriers globally and not premium brands.
You do not see this in full-service carriers abroad. You will only see the advertisements or other gimmicks with low-cost carriers who are trying to attract passengers. If they can't attract the passengers, they are trying to make money in advertisement. And so when you start resorting to that, that's a clear indication that things are not going too well.
Privacy is a good idea.
Not very long ago, Jet Business was the airline of choice for most corporates. But this very fact made the airline sit pretty in its comfort zone, resulting in a steady deterioration of its service and offerings. Hence, it was no surprise that when Kingfisher launched in 2004, it completely eroded Jet's dominance in the business class segment.
It takes more than Shah Rukh Khan to entice passengers to fly with you. From 2007, while they provide fairly good service, for example, intra-Asian, I think they can do so much better if they manage efficiently. For example, their debts are well over $2 billion right now. So I think they have a few things that they need to work on before they need to refocus on bringing the glamour back into Jet Airways flying.
When our ground force does their work on time, our pilots take off on time.
A good learning for Jet would be Indigo. Indigo has an extremely crisp and clear positioning in the market, which is to be on time. And come what may, you get exactly what they offer. It's about time Jet drew up a clear brand identity, communicate what it stands for, and of course, stay true to that promise. The Jet Etihad deal is definitely a big one, and the benefits for Jet will go much beyond its required funding. But just getting Etihad on board won't make Jet's fundamental issues go away. In fact, before it makes its big foray internationally, the time is now more than ever before for Jet to get its house in order.